What's that? A diary. Oh, isn't that the journal Aori was using? Yep. Oh, look at this entry. In the classroom, Yukinari offered me coffee, but I declined. Really? She really did write that she didn't take the coffee? You? So, Aori really didn't drink that coffee? Yeah, but that's not the main thing about that. She wrote this in this diary, that she turned down my offer for coffee. It seems that she was always a wary woman. That's why, doesn't it seem like she's not the type of person to take a drink from anyone? If you put it that way. Because Aori did not die from drinking that poison. But what if you got her to lower her guard and wasn't able to write it down after the fact? That's not what happened. Yeah, there's no mistaking it. After speaking with her, I kept a close eye on Yukinari. If he hid any evidence, it's unlikely I wouldn't have seen it. I guess. Well then, I guess we have to conclude that Aori did not drink that coffee. Then, if Aori did not drink the coffee, why was there a broken cup there? Yeah. Maybe the wolf wanted to put the blame on baby Mario? I don't know. Yeah. I'm not the culprit. And, firstly, why would anyone drink coffee in the player morgue? The smell of those bodies would put me off from drinking. I'd never. Wow. Hey, speaking of the player morgue, there's something I noticed earlier. What, Yuto? Well, Aori's body? Why did we find it in there? Huh? Well, that's because Aori went to the player morgue. But like, isn't that strange? Didn't Aori say yesterday she was in the classroom? So then, why the player morgue? It doesn't seem like the place someone would normally go to. That's right. I know that Aori was an off one from time to time, but going to the player morgue doesn't seem like something she'd do. It was probably before the wolf attacked her. She seemed to be very careful. Maybe she had a reason. A reason to go to the player morgue? Is there a reason for Aori choosing to leave the classroom for the empty player morgue? Well, maybe. To form an alliance. She went to form an alliance? Yeah, look at this page in her diary. The wolf this time is him. Yes, I have picked him out. Even with my intuition, it wouldn't take more than 10 minutes to end the wolf trial. With conclusive evidence and eyewitnesses, I'll need help. If I choose an accomplice, they have to be smart, be cool under pressure, and have good charisma. If there's a person like that, then they'd surely survive the wolf trial. Yes, I will help that person. Any other people, it would be best to keep our connections low. I'll meet with them in the player morgue and have a secret meeting. If you look at this entry, Aori went to the player morgue to offer herself for an alliance. In other words, it seems that Aori thought that by forming an alliance, that she'd improve her chances on not being killed. An alliance. Yeah, makes me uncomfortable. But this time, Aori's accomplice was the wolf. The accomplice is the wolf? looking at this entry, it does seem that's the reason she went to the player morgue. It was in order to lower her chances of being killed. What the hell is this? So, trying to form an alliance was the reason. But who with? This accomplice? I think we can see with this hint that Aori wrote down in here. If they chose an accomplice that's smart, cool under pressure, and has good charisma. Hey, it's not me! Nobody was thinking that it was you. But that entry, I can't think of a specific person. Yeah, but Aori talked about all of us in this game. She's analyzed everyone. Analyzed? Oh yeah, wasn't Aori a counselor? Yeah, in this journal, she's written about all of us in here. If you read it all, we can make a guess who the accomplice is. Now, if we exclude the dead Maki and Takeo, there's gotta be one that stands out. These are just everyone's summaries from the previous video. There isn't anyone else that she's written about here.
What? Calling me selfish?
Not that good looking. Aori, I'm shocked. Anyway, in these points, Aori picked one of us to be her accomplice. We can make a guess. The one that Aori chose to form an alliance with? Isn't it Osamu? Me? Well, why do you think that? Well, if we look at what Aori wrote about you in her journal. Osamu, very cool under pressure, never retorts back to others. This image makes me believe he is a very patient teacher. Is what she wrote. And Aori's conditions for an ally are smart, be cool under pressure, and have good charisma. Then that fits you pretty well, right, Osamu? That's... I mean, yeah. Please hold on a minute. I'm not the accomplice.
Hey. Faced with certain death and you respond like that. Isn't that kinda sus?
It's not like I have a choice in how I reply. To suspect that I'm the accomplice means that I'll be executed as the wolf that killed Aori. I didn't kill Aori. Suspicious. Moreover, about those summaries. To decide on an accomplice with that? Why, that seems to be wholly unreliable. Well, yeah. With just the summary to choose Osamu as an ally, there isn't any concrete evidence. I suppose. Yes! It would be odd to choose me as the ally with just that summary. But to me, Aori's condition for an ally, smart, cool under pressure, and charismatic, I thought that it has to be Osamu. But you can't just rely on a summary to say that. That's why we need stronger evidence. I guess we can't just use Aori's notes. No less than 10 minutes with evidence. If Osamu is the accomplice, then doesn't that mean there has to be some sort of evidence? I should look through this journal one more time. What are these symbols? Besides all of the names, there's either an X or a triangle. Huh? But for Osamu, there isn't one. That is suspicious. Huh? There's an X by me. What is the meaning of this symbol? person who is the wolf. I got it! Maybe this symbol from Aori must be a check for who she thinks the wolf could be. When I tried to give Aori that coffee, she suspected me as a wolf. That's why I have this X beside my name. But then, why doesn't Osamu have anything beside his name? I think I got it.
Huh? You figured it out, Yukinai?
Yeah. There's no mistake that Osamu is the accomplice. What? Where's your proof? In this journal entry, I want you to pay attention to what's been written down beside each name. Beside the names, there's X's and triangles written down. So here's an important note. In Japan, the marking system is a bit different than Western countries. So they use a circle for correct, X for wrong, and a triangle for part marks. What do they mean? These are probably symbols indicating who Aori thought could be the wolf.
Who could be the wolf?
Yeah. I get it.
Huh?
Hey, but Osamu doesn't have one. Why not? That's likely because Osamu is the accomplice, right? Huh? These symbols look different than the other writing. They're a bit messy. It makes sense when you compare it to the others. Surely Aori, while talking to her ally in the player morgue, was adding these symbols. Now that you say that, there isn't a desk in the player morgue. So then these symbols are a bit messy because Aori was standing while she was writing them down? That does make sense. Even at my work, sometimes I have to make notes while standing. I don't always have the opportunity to sit and write. Mine's even worse to try and read.
Then Aori had definitely met with her accomplice in the player morgue.
Yeah. And the reason she didn't put a symbol by Osamu's name is they were talking with their accomplice, Osamu. It makes sense. Yeah, all the other people in our group have symbols. Only Osamu doesn't have one. Suspicious. Osamu, are you Aori's accomplice?